Let me start by giving you a little bit of the story of Petri's March.
Pathfinder RPG.
Okay.
It's really fun.
So apparently the audio wasn't working on that first section, so thanks for bearing with us. I think we have audio now. We were essentially what we said in there was there's some home brewing. We're about to have fun.
Give us grace on the technical issues.
Give us grace on the technical issues. So ironic.
And we're diving in.
All right.
At the end of our last adventuring session, you two, as well as...
This guy.
Right. Our dark tiefling...
Rogue.
Who decided to be 2 hours late to session.
Made your way to the dock along with the prince and princess, newly married, running from both members of each race, elves and tritons, hoping to kill them for their affront to the natural order of things. During this run, you came into several combats with several different types of people, two of which you recognized as gods.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They were...
That's why the DM reminds.
They were...
Kifo and Teraniho.
No.
Shazam.
They were
Shazen?
Shazen.
They were Shazen.
I've got bad handwriting.
Shazen, goddess of life, hope, and song, and Kifo.
Oh, and the god of questioning. Who's the god of questioning?
Anger.
The god of questioning?
Yeah.
Teraniho.
He's my favorite deity.
He's a tabaxi god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
he's cat-like.
I can worship by just being like, huh? What?
But he doesn't, because he goes, huh? What? When he hears that. So, you had just defeated a score of elven vanguards that were trying to kill you or take you hostage when cannons boomed in the distance, and then suddenly a ship pulled out of the darkness. Down onto the dock ran this man arrayed, this Triton man arrayed in jewels and fine silks and a dark, dark blue coat and a bright red hat. And he says, "Quickly, onto this ship." And the prince and princess are like, "Oh, what took you so long? Please, come on. Captain Janas." And you all rushed up the gangplank and are on the ship, and it's pushing off from the city of Malisor. And you guys are currently heading east, because you're just getting away from the city. As you got on the ship, a boom resonated, louder than you have ever heard before. The water of the ocean went flat for a moment, and then continued to ripple. What would you like to do?
I suppose this is what happens when gods start fighting each other.
I'm really torn. There are two things that I really want to do. The first is the mature thing and examine what happened to the water. The second is I really want to look for a pirate hat.
I can't make that decision for you.
So I'm going to half-heartedly investigate what's going on with the water while also looking around for a hat that I can take. That would be a perception of 11 as I'm looking around. And I'm going to kind of like look over the deck of the ship too to like look at the water and look around, but like keep moving the entire time.
I'm going to head towards the royal couple as well as the captain of the ship and just ask them, well, we're getting out of here for now, but other than that, did you have a backup plan as to what would happen if your enemies upstaged the event, per se?
And as you're talking, the prince, he steps in front of you and says, he approaches the captain. If I can find my correct notes here. Sorry. There we go. Corada, the Triton prince, steps in front of me and says, Yes, Captain Janas. What is this ship? This is not the merchant vessel we were expecting you to meet us in. Where are we headed? What is this? What is going on? And Captain Janas turns a lazy eye. Yes, well, I received word from a few contacts of mine that things were going to get a bit messy here. Many people did not expect you to last the night, let alone the wedding ceremony. So I brought my swiftest, if more dangerous vessel. And to you, small one, the plan is we're going to head south. The Tritons fear the waters south and control much of the waters to the north. Any lands to the north are, of course, yours, Lady Mariada. And we need to be away from those who wish to kill us.
It is your ship, my lord, Captain Janas, you said your name was.
Janas, yes. My name, if you must know the full, is Janas Enurastad.
I'm going to stick with Janas.
That is fine. You can also refer to me as Captain. You are not a member of my crew, but I will allow it for the ease of the moment.
I am Millenot Falthorpe, Vice Commander of the Bronzean Aegis out of Dorkhaven.
And I thought mine was a mouthful. Do you have a nickname, perhaps?
I have a nickname for that exact reason. Call me Mill.
Mill. It's much simpler.
The ship is yours, so the decision remains yours, but might I suggest an alternative option?
You may suggest a way.
I was sent here by my immediate superior from contacts who expected this wedding to be a disaster from that political extremists might use it as an opportunity to strike at both sides.
Ah, yes, and they have.
My suggestion is that if they, both the Triton and the Elven Empire are as large as they have because of good strategies on both sides, so it's likely they will have considered escape an option, and there will be patrols to the south, as that's the most likely route we will take. And as long as we go south, we will remain on open waters. Though we will not be in Triton-controlled territory, we will still be vulnerable to Triton sea raiders, which is not an option I look forward to.
Do you have any idea why no one ventures south on these islands?
I have never been. Very rarely have I been outside the walls of Dorkhaven.
Yes. Well, the legends say that there is a great monster, a beast, that lurks beneath the waves south of here. I would much rather face that in the wrath of the entire Triton Navy force, under and above water, which we would certainly run into when trying to head east by northeast.
Well, the city of Dorkhaven is, I am known there, being the Vice Commander of the Bronzean Aegis.
Yes. They're known to me.
They are it is a free city for port trade. And I have connections from every baron to the lowest beggar. And my immediate superior, Lord Commander Aldemar Brightblade, is even more feared and well connected than I am. And even the lowest members of the city's underbelly, which I will admit is proportionate, let's just say, fear to act against him as to incur his wrath. So if we go to the east, we could find safety there, as it's an easy city to get lost in, and if the city is attacked, you would have the backing of the entirety of the Bronzean Aegis Adventurers Guild to protect you, at least until you can get loyalists.
You can say for certain, if we travelled to the east, we would not be turned away. Because I would look on a city, albeit as large as Dorkhaven, as my accent is just all over the place.
Oh god.
I've been practicing and it's still everywhere.
It's different. It's
the French accent, the little bit of the Triton accent. So
you can do an accent better than I can. So
you're saying if we travel to the east and come to the large port city of Dorkhaven, they would not turn away the two most sought people on the list currently, as it stands here in Kisewa, they would accept us in and protect us? Even though 2 entire races are seeking the demise of those.
Darkhaven is a crime-filled city primarily because
So we'd have to pay.
It doesn't turn anyone away. It was created as a city of freedom, but it's become a city of smuggling because of that. The law is still open, that it's open to every single vessel, from pirate ship to merchant vessel. However, we might have to expend some coin on the going.
Roll a persuasion check. He doesn't like the idea of heading into Triton-controlled waters. So I'm not going to give you advantage, but I'm not going to give you disadvantage. Because that was a pretty good argument.
I've been working on that for weeks.
I found a hat.
Yeah, you have found, make a sleight of hand check.
8.
7.
7 on sleight of hand?
That's 7.
So, you found the nicest hat on the ship.
Ooh.
And you went to pull it off of the head of one of the many sailors sitting aboard the deck.
Yeah.
And you didn't notice.
It was on a head.
Yeah. You thought he was sleeping, so you went to pull it off, and you kind of just banged his head into the barrel he was leaning against, and he cusses at you. But you rolled a decently high perception, and none of the crew noticed besides this guy, so no one is giving you...
Can I attempt to assuage the frustration of this sailor?
Yes.
I've realized in just rolling, my numbers are either below 6 or above 15. They are never anywhere in the...
So 17, and I'll just say, no, don't worry about it. It's needed for an important mission to protect our patrons. So, you'll get it back eventually, I'm sure.
You need my hat.
Yeah, here's a beer.
He takes off his hat and looks at it. Unless that beer is gold, it's not worth it. And the captain turns to you and says, alas, Darkhaven is known to me, and I to them. But I believe it's too dangerous. But, Prince, Princess, what do you believe?
There are no hats on this ship that I can take.
It is my chance, Prince, Princess, it is my chance to protect you until you reach the hands of safety, so whatever you choose, I will go.
Oh, are we deciding where we're going?
The plan originally was to head south, and then we would either head along the coast, or we would head out east.
Equally great.
The only issue is the water there is said to be haunted.
Speaking of which, did you notice the water stop moving?
Yes, that is why we've been heading directly east this whole time. How far out are we? And you hear this screech back. Anyala, please, common. All right, we look to be nearly a mile out. That water stopping in the middle was good for us. Nearly a mile. All right. Turn us south, unless, of course, Merieda, Corada. Do you wish to trust this man you have paid in your employ? These men here with you, they seem to think heading east might be safest.
It's also
a great option.
It's also a much shorter journey than traveling south.
It is true. Roll perception. Not perception. Roll persuasion to persuade Corada, since he is Triton.
Can I assist? Just...
Yeah, roll with advantage. So roll once more.
That's plus with my persuasion, that's 17. That is a 12. So.
All right. Let's see. Where is it? Nope. Okay. You guys.
What he said.
And Karada turns and looks. These two have done more for me in the last hours than I have ever expected. And Captain...
Other than getting my sword stuck in a crate.
Well, I was going to say, paying a man as fat as me his weight in gold is... get you far away.
Janas, if I may, perhaps it is wise to not head the direction they would assume we would. And he nods and says, all right, you've convinced me. This is my safest and fastest vessel. And he's going to call out, crew! And you hear just, huh, hey, yeah, there's a bunch of call-outs responding. We're heading north by east, skirt the corner, out. And one of the guys goes, oh no, he's worried. And he leans over. His real accent only comes out when he's really nervous. And as the sails turn, and this is the ship you guys are on.
The Bitter Wind?
The Bitter Wind. It's a schooner. Two-masted.
Schooner. I've always pronounced it schooner.
It might be schooner. That makes more sense, because I've heard that word before. I've heard the words. That's my bad.
Because I've heard that word before.
It's like, I never heard schooner. That's why I picked it. It's not schooner.
Fun fact, John Paul Jones, the ship he used, I believe the Constitution was a schooner. Or a schooner.
Now you got us doing it. Okay.
So this is the ship you're on. It turns and starts heading north by northeast, which... So you guys are heading out from Malus Zor, which is the ink blot in the middle of the map there. Just to the left of that, you can see the city of Malus Zor.
That's like that little peninsula right there?
That's the city where you guys are left. So
You're going east towards the ink block?
Yep, and north.
So are we going towards the ink block?
The ink blot?
Yeah.
You're going, I mean, you're almost to the ink blot.
Oh, okay.
Because of you were just shooting away from the city as fast as you could.
Are we going to the dot at the tip of that massive land?
Yeah.
Okay. I know this is not helpful for any of you watching, but in our future episodes, we will have these available as slides for you to watch.
Yeah, actually, I can just give you some.
Speaking of, you said there were two lads helping you. What is that?
So, this is where they are, and they're headed this way.
The tiefling.
That's Dockhaven.
Oh, okay.
I hope the tiefling that was with us isn't stealing anything.
Oh, I saw him napping at the
Okay.
poop
Yeah,
deck.
you the poop deck. Okay, so do you know where the poop deck is on the ship?
The rear.
No, it's the front.
Right, the front.
Right, it's the front.
I don't have proficiency in sailing
So
as a player.
it takes
or a
off. So
character.
you guys, the ship is going. The tiefling rogue is napping on the poop deck of the ship, having a grand old nap as the smell of salty seawater and brine mixes with the kind of light, dusty smell of rain on water, and the rain is starting to let up. The drenched, soaking rain is turning into more of a light, gentle rain as you guys head north by northeast. What would you like to do?
Approach the captain.
I'm
Say.
going to just.
Well-
Oh yeah, sorry.
Not very important, but just minorly important. Do you happen to have a hat to keep my head from getting wet and me cold and consequently dying of the cold?
I'm sure we have something. Do you have something? And he rubs his finger and thumb together.
Yeah, you can add it to the tab of those two. They're paying me my weight in gold.
And he looks over at them, kind of like his eyes bulging a little bit, and Marietta goes, We were in a bit of a rush. And he goes, this way. And he leads you to his cabin. He says, wait here. Goes inside, comes back out a minute later. Peeks his head out. Do you want, do you like plumage? Or do you like the 3-corner hat?
3/4.
Three
That'll
quarters.
be fine.
All right. He disappears back in, comes back out with just this like pale, like brownish blue, like kind of looks like dirty seawater trifoil hat.
Okay.
And it has a silver buckle on one side.
Lovely.
And he hands it to you and he says, that is my least lucky hat.
I shall make it lucky and keep it for myself.
Do you do that?
Now,
Now,
guys.
as we are... Yeah?
Dang, it's snowing. And then I'd like to climb the mast.
So as you start climbing the mast, he says, do you have any idea what you're doing?
Plenty.
I'm fairly certain he doesn't know what he's doing most of the time.
Yeah, roll a deception check.
That would be a 14.
He's like, no. If you are not assisting in the sailing of this vessel, I need you out of the way on the deck. Your friend sleeping over there, he's got the right idea, although sleeping on the poop deck's not a great idea.
All right, well, I've got a hat, so I will scout
And this
ship.
This ship is pretty fast.
Oh, well, I mean, it went a mile in, like, no time
A
flat.
couple minutes. I mean, you guys,
Right.
we took a break. It was raining.
D&D.
Yeah, D&D. So it's, it's making its progress, and it's a fast ship. This is not like a big heavy warship. This ship is meant for speed. That's its
So
whole
it's like a blockade runner kind of
existence.
thing?
Yeah. And you've never seen, like, you both spent a decent amount of time in ports. You've never seen a 2-masted schooner. They're normally 3-masted
Ah,
or single-masted. And if it's a single-masted schooner, it's called a skiff.
yeah.
So a 2-masted is weird, and you're not super sure. Well, roll a intelligence check, I guess. Maybe use the dice.
17.
It fell off and into my hand. Should I re-roll it?
Is it a 20?
Yes.
I'll let you keep it. So you're like, you're looking at the ship, and you're like, huh. What do you say? That's a lead-in. You notice that this ship is not normal, and that you've never seen a 2-masted schooner before.
I walk up to the captain. Captain, I've seen all man. I'm from a very successful port city, but I've never seen a ship either from the fastest trade smugglers or from the largest war galleys that looked exactly like this. What exactly is this ship?
Ah, yes. The bitter wind. She is my pride and joy, but she is my mistress. For I do not speak of her. You may not have noticed, but this ship, she's dark. You see? And he
Yet lovely.
Yes, I remember.
he kind of like showcases the boat to you. He's like, the wood is a thick, dark ash, and the sails we have dyed the color of the midnight sky. And that is because this ship.
Shut up. Sorry, sorry. Just for full disclosure, if it seems like I'm talking to you, my large rapier on my back is sentient, and sometimes it chimes in at inappropriate times.
We're not friends.
Roll a deception.
No,
I know. I know that you're telling the truth. Persuasion. That'd be persuasion.
Okay.
Yeah, my bad. So
14.
yeah, he's like, uh-huh.
So this is a spy ship.
It came when it.
It could be We have used it to acquire certain information before.
Ah. So it's a ship.
This is a ship.
When you picked this up, it came out of the shadows almost as if it was a part of them.
Yes. That is why she's my pride and joy.
It's a prerequisite of being a ship.
Oh.
Yes. And
Normal. Obvious.
You don't have to do this for every single thing you say.
Oh, I do because I'm being sarcastic.
Well,
What I'm saying is not actually what I mean.
sarcasm can at times be implied. You don't have to. You don't have to be obvious about it.
I've never seen it done that way.
I don't know.
Solid. Good stuff, guys. Okay, so, and so you said you were inspecting the ship, or no, you said that.
Yeah, I was just gonna scout the ship.
Okay, roll a perception, scouting the ship.
That would be a.
Are you gonna have a look around too?
20.
You can't help with sailing.
I'm gonna go and talk to just try and reassure both the help. I'm gonna go try and both help reassure the
bride and groom.
the bride and groom, and also find out a bit about their past.
Okay, so you don't hear anything that I'm about to tell him.
Okay.
So you rolled. When
A
you
20.
You rolled a 20.
I rolled a 16 and I had 4.
Okay, so it's a 20.
Right.
So you notice 15 or so crew hands,
Okay.
which is pretty normal on a ship this size, running around the rigging and across the sails, and there's a blue-haired, kind of light blue-skinned, maybe 5 foot tall guy standing at the, or girl, sorry, long blue hair standing at the
I'm like, wow, he sounds
wheel.
very beautiful for a guy.
Standing at the wheel, directing the ship. You see a large, very large, definitely the largest guy on the ship. Long hair, big beard, covered in tattoos. Guy, and he's got a muzzle loader on his shoulder, which is just like cotton in a cloth at the end of a stick used to ram cannonballs down. And he's walking along kind of both sides of the ship, just kind of looking at the cannons, the small cannons that are mounted there, and he disappears down underneath the ship. There's the woman that the captain spoke to earlier, the Arakokra Anyala, who is up at the top of the mast, so kind of hard to see, but she's white, gray, brown, white coloring, and so you can pick her out at the top of the mast. Her wings sometimes open, sometimes not as you're looking around.
Oh, and side note, just because I'm remembering now, I understand and can speak all languages.
All languages?
Yeah, I'm a monk.
Cool.
It's tongue of the sun and moon. I understand all spoken languages, and any creature that can understand the language can understand what you say.
Wow.
You're oddly capable for a guy who's just drunk all the time.
Yep. That's true.
Then there is there's a half orc, and he's got shoulder length black hair, small tusks, dressed in like court niceties.
Oh.
He's got an ascot and like a 4-piece suit with just kind of the fanciest swords you've ever seen.
Can I approach him?
Yes, you may.
I'm going to say, I like your ascot.
He says, "Ha! You have the best stories."
What are you talking about, Scott?
Scott.
Is that your name?
No.
Oh, my bad. Nice, nice neck decoration too.
We'll call it a tie.
Thank you. Oh, you get a point for that.
So you look. What's a well-dressed guy like you doing on a ship like this?
He says, "You haven't met many half-orcs, have you? They don't like us in a lot of places. This Tidra ship's the best place where I can make a living."
But that doesn't really describe the neck thing.
"Oh, my ascot. Yes, and he slaps you on the back.
Can I dodge?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, make a dexterity saving throw.
So that would be...
It's going to be enormous.
Yeah, 21.
Okay, so
What? Your oh, it's your...
yeah, he misses.
Saving
He
throw.
misses. He like swipes through the air and stumbles a bit. And he looks at you, and then he reaches out to put a hand on your shoulder.
I reach my hand out before he can get there and just put my hand on his.
So you're like this.
Yeah.
You're like this, and he's like, and he's just gonna say, "You're not very clever, are you? Just fast." And he goes,
I mean...
"Right!" And he walks away. And he says, "Name's Wisecrack, by the way. Watch yourself."
His name's Wisecrack?
And he can't hear you anymore, so you're talking to yourself, I guess.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I keep walking.
You see...
It's better than butt crack.
So as he's walking away from you, you hear something. Make a perception check.
Does it meet my passive perception of 14?
No.
Okay.
In fact, you don't notice this because
Yeah.
it's a natural 20. So you turn around, and right behind you is a tabaxi who's leopard skinned with melanism. So he's jet black,
Oh.
head to toe. He's standing 4 feet taller than you.
So
I
like
have a passive insight of 19. So your call on how you
Oh.
want to do that. So basically, the way I would see it is when I see somebody, I can kind of get a feel for who they are, what they're like, and what their intentions might be.
Yeah, you're on the ship. You're seeing a lot of neutral,
Okay.
not much evil.
Well, it's not necessarily alignment. It's just like...
In general, I mean, it's easy for us to communicate
Right.
that way. You're seeing for this character who says, sorry. He says, "Crash," and he holds out his paw, kind of like this, kind of like a paw hand.
Ithider.
And this there's
Ifidus Vigakiri.
there's a crow, a jet black raven on his shoulder with like a white mark on its beak.
Oh.
Goes, "Ifidor, Ifidor," and he goes, and you get the feeling that he's just watching carefully. He's not. He doesn't seem like he's going to cause you any trouble.
Right.
And he says, Can you cook?
Cook?
Cook!
Cook! I can brew, and that's essentially cooking.
Brew! 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 The bird's like, brew! Brew! And he scratches the raven's head, and it nips him. "Ah! Good idea, Raju. Come with me." And he heads down below decks to their galley.
I come, and I try to mimic his stealthy presence.
Make an attempt at that.
That's a 29.
Okay, he is shocked because he gets down there and he thinks that you said yes and didn't actually follow him. And then you're right behind him. And he jumps.
And I jump, and I trip, and fall.
And the raven,
Hey,
the
sorry.
raven flies as it gets spooked and lands and is watching you guys. What's going on? And then the raven flies back out to the main deck. And the last thing you see is someone dressed exactly like the captain, human male, with the same swords and multiple pistols just like the captain, but a human, not a Triton. And he's also walking around on deck. And you saw that just in passing before you.
Yeah.
You kind of like, you rolled just enough perception to be like, wait. No, that's someone else. Okay. And you are consoling the bride and groom.
Well, I want to ask them, it's like, Your Grace, Crown Prince, if you've known, I assure you that Darkhaven is safe. My commander, Lord Aldemar Brightblade, is a blessed champion of Shazed. He will provide you of Shazen. Sorry, he will provide you the aid you seek, as well as your protection. For safety's sake, though, of the exact thing that provides Darkhaven, will provide you safety in Darkhaven, will also be at risk.
And he holds up a hand. I trade there quite frequently. My beautiful bride, and she is like gripping his arm, like with a fervor, and he's like, has never been on a ship before, so she does not know, but please allow me. My dear, the city we are headed to is about as criminal as they come. And we will have to bribe, bully, or brawl our way through any scenario, quite possibly. And so I ask for your care in this. And she's like kind of shaken, and she looks at him and she's like, I will always act with a princess's control. And the boat hits a swell and she rips his arm, and she's like, understood. You keep
I would suggest you will be safe there, but I would suggest going incognito, as though that most people will ignore the fineries. There are some elements of the criminal underworld which may overturn their fear against Aldemar and act against you. So I suggest at least taking off your greater pieces of finery and maybe dressing as common merchants, at least until we can get you inside the keep.
And you hear inside the keep, inside the keep. And you see the raven kind of flying around, and so they nod their heads and agree with you. And the captain, who's he's checking on things, he's spending a lot of time up by the wheel. He says, "What a great idea!" And he claps his hands. Liam Han, and the big, really hairy guy with all the tattoos, the bosun, comes over and he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Take our guests below to my cabin beneath, and give them dress them in fine but subtle clothes, so as they do not stand out."
Leon, you said Leon.
Liam Han. Leomhann. Leomhann.
Okay.
And as he turns to lead them down underneath, you notice on his back he has a curious weapon. It's about this big, about 3 feet long, and it has double axe heads at each end, where the tips nearly meet in the middle. So it's a piece of wood about 3 feet long with double curved axe heads at each end.
That's pretty cool.
Would I recognize it being a soldier?
It looks like a double. I mean, it's definitely a custom weapon, but it's a double great axe is probably how you'd think of it. But it is way too small for this guy. A great axe is normally like 6 feet long.
Yeah.
As long as the person, holding it, because it's got blades on each end. It's dangerous, and so the small one, you're kind of confused by it. Okay, so They take your advice. They go downstairs to get dressed into simpler clothes. And Trevor is helping brew and cook in the kitchen with Crash. And the ship is making good time, but... Where are they? There they are. Okay, one more. There it is. All right. So, as the ship is rounding the tip of Zordia, which is the island in the middle there, as you're rounding the tip, suddenly there's like the rain has led up to the point where stars are just peeking through the clouds. The smell has switched to that open sea smell, which is just kind of it's lighter than when you're at the beach.
Airy and salty.
Yeah, very very salty air, and the ship shudders. And make a dexterity saving throw.
24.
Oh, 20. Let's see, that was a 19 or 8. No, it was an 18. 23. Okay.
You both keep your footing just fine. The captain keeps his footing. The first mate at the helm keeps his footing, and the rest of the crew, you hear cries of alarm and kind of calling out as they all tumble and fall, and you watch as the Aarakocra takes flight. Well, you see this because he's below deck. Takes flight over the ship and circles back around, being thrown from the mast by a sudden collision with something under the water.
I bet that's handy.
Okay.
So you're underneath.
I'm underneath. Am I like hearing water like pouring into the ship?
Make a perception check.
17.
Nope. You're not hearing water pour into the
Did
ship.
Crash do anything?
Well, you guys kind of you get a first response.
Okay.
Because everyone else is kind of reeling from falling over because this ship, hit something, run aground, did something. It stopped, kind of skidded in the water. So you guys have a chance to do something. The rest of the crew is kind of fumbling about, and you hear the captain call, "All hands on deck!" And it screams, and it comes through in a really rough voice. Not the accent you've been hearing as he's been talking to you guys.
I will rush up the stairs.
Are you going to spend a key point and get there in 0.0 seconds?
I don't think I have to. I think I can probably just dash and run and move 120 feet.
Okay.
Which is probably far enough.
Yeah, you're there. The
Okay.
ship's not even that long.
So. Great. So yeah.
Can I make a perception check or an insight check around any of around the deck to see if I see anything suspicious?
Yeah, so the way you should ask that is, I would like to look around the deck and see if I see anything suspicious, and then I'll tell you, make a perception check.
All right. I'd like to see if I see anything suspicious on this.
Make a perception check.
Oh, that's pretty good. Perception, that's a 16.
Yeah, so as you're glancing around, you can see the lights of the city of Ranomia up on the cliffside. It's a sheer cliff. It's not too distant, but the rain's lit up enough that you can see the lights on the tip of the cliffside there, and you see kind of a light blue glow on each side of the ship, partially underwater. So the sea is kind of glowing a bit.
Can I do a knowledge nature?
Well, you have to roll a perception first.
Oh. Crit fail.
Okay. You get a little bit of salt in your eye.
That's still a 5.
You run as you're running up the stairs.
You get a little bit of salt in your non-dominant eye, and you're like, oh.
As you're running up the stairs, you try and open the door and whack yourself in the face because it opens the other direction.
So, and you hear this the sound of what would it be akin to that you guys would know? The sound of quenching iron. when a smith is like putting an anvil, is putting a sword he's been working on in oil to quench the fire. You hear the and this kind of like suddenly, well, I guess not too suddenly, but this jet of steam shoots up in front of the boat and just cuts the foremast right off the ship.
Oh,
which is for you who aren't sailing knowledgeable.
Most mast.
Right, that little piece that sticks out. The foremast is the word I'm using. It's probably wrong. It's horizontal, sticking out where there'd be like the carved mermaid.
Oh, right.
In those types of stories. So it slices off the front part of that. So the first two sails are just flying limply in the wind.
Okay.
So it was steam that came out.
Steam just and just cuts it. Now, you can make a knowledge nature check.
I mean, that's not going to be wonderful, but it's going to be something. That's an 11.
11. It's definitely aquatic. And you can you've heard stories and you can gather like this glowing blue it's not something you've seen before. It's not something you've really heard about, but you've heard campfire tales, as it were, or tavern stories where someone tells you something so ridiculous that you ignore it.
This is that guy's fish, huh? The fish that was that big and then that big. And...
It's that fish, yeah.
It's that fish?
Because every time he tells the story, it grows by this much.
Yeah.
Because it,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
I see it and I'm like, well, someone needs to vent their steam in a different direction.
I'm not going to give you a point for that because it was just bad, but it was great.
Like how the entire stream just pauses, trying to figure out how to respond.
As the sails are flapping in the wind and the ship is kind of cockeyed in the water and kind of just rocking back and forth.
Are we close to land?
You're about like less than barely a quarter mile, I'd say.
Okay.
Away from the sheer cliffs of Zordia.
Okay.
Right near the city of Ronomia.
I'm Googling that in feet. 1/4 mile in feet.
Oh yeah, you can run on water.
Is 1,320 feet. I can't run on water that far.
Okay.
Only a tenth of that.
So the ship is in chaos.
That was player knowledge, not I don't know if you can run on water.
And the captain says, "Prepare," and his voice kind of comes back to that accent you're used to. "Everyone, prepare."
For what?
And the water on the sides of the ship kind of like comes up on the sides of the ship and like grips it.
Oh.
And the ship stops rocking and the water is like kind of just gripping the boat still in the sea as this island rises in front of the ship and it's glittering, covered in gold and in just bright colors reflecting off it from the faint starlight.
I'm going to pull my right arm up, activating the tattoo, which causes like shadowy arm to like follow it into where my arm actually is. So it's like this slight delay.
So are you talking like what is that Vin Diesel movie?
Yeah. Very much Riddick.
Riddick.
Yeah. And then the other one just like turns red and claws grow on it and it becomes a little bit scaled and I'm just like, okay!
Right. I've already drawn both my swords at this point, and at this point I'm like, I'm not really sure what kind of combat to ready myself for.
Right.
And the captain, he removes his hat and says, you can hear him, roll perception.
Okay.
Roll perception.
20. Natural
6.
20. 6. See, as I said, below a 6 or above a 15.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. So Cameron, you hear with perfect clarity. Trevor, you don't hear this. You hear in this like thick backwater accent. He's like, I never believed the stories. And he pulls off his hat and says, cursed timing for sure. And he kneels. And like you watch as the crew like kind of like is looking at him, and like some of them have their pistols out, or like the cook has out a blunderbuss, like just massive cannon of a gun.
Nice.
And like the bosun the bosun has his like he's reached back to get his axe, and they all kind of pause and they all kneel, kind of like questioning like what's going on. And the Aarakocra and the Raven are both circling above the ship. So, what would you like to do as this shell rises from the water and a head comes up above the front of the ship, and you see...
I want to confirm that running on top of this thing would be acrobatics.
Running on top of the wet back of a dragon turtle.
It's all balancing, and it's not necessarily climbing, from what I'm hearing.
No, it's slope.
I could run and balance.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So that's what you see.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
So for sizing, that shark is a great white. So a great white at 25 feet long.
Yeah.
The head of the dragon turtle, which as you can tell, no turtle would ever get this big or shoot steam, comes and rises up and peers down at the ship.
Does it look to have any amount of, like, intelligence?
Roll a perception.
Would it be insight?
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's better. Yeah, roll an insight.
So that's 18.
Yeah, so you are looking at its eyes and face, and you see lucid thought happening behind its eyes. It is taking everything in like a soldier before a battle.
I run up to like a place where I can be dominantly displayed in front of it.
So you're going to run past all the crew who are
Yes.
kneeling
Yes.
to the poop deck where the tiefling is still sleeping.
Yes. And I'm going to put my hands up in front of this big turtle-looking thing. And I'm going to say, "Oh there! I would like to speak with you for just a moment. I fear that we have come into your land, your waters, and I'm terribly sorry. What can we do here?"
As he's saying
if it can understand, so I'll read the phrasing.
As he's saying this, I'm slowly backing into the below decks to make sure the royal couple is okay.
Any creature that can understand the language can understand what you say.
Okay, so
That is an awesome perk.
Oh my gosh. Well, and hopefully it works out, because this is one of my favorite things about D&D.
make a dexterity saving throw.
That would be a 19.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, you hear or see water rushing, and you just jump backwards, and these two water jets just collide right where you were, and then just flop. Water just flops to the deck, and this, you look back up at the dragon and the dragon turtle, and you see something floating, walking down the shell towards you. And you've gone below decks.
Well, I was walking slowly towards the door. If anything happened, I didn't want to miss it in case I was needed, but I also didn't want to get its attention. So while that was happening, I was walking backwards.
Okay.
Hold, men.
Okay. And then
Do I at least look cool in my hat?
you look like a guy who found a hat.
Fair enough.
But it works decently with his outfit.
Okay.
It just reminds me of that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean. I think Pirates of the Caribbean 2, where they're in the bar fight and everyone's being knocked off and losing their hats. And Jack Sparrow has lost his earlier in the movie, so he's taking everyone's hat
as
to
he's
see if
walking
it
around.
works. He's like, no.
I love that scene.
No. Oh, no.
You're just watching this as you're backing
Yeah.
away. Okay. So roll a knowledge arcane.
Okay.
Each of you. Knowledge arcana.
7.
3.
It's a fish man. Kind of, I mean, he looks like a Triton, but he's more green and toad-like.
Huh.
And he's arrayed in gold robes and purple and greens, and everything looks, I mean, he looks downright gaudy. Just like he's dressed in the most expensive garbage he could find.
Yeah.
At the most expensive garbage store he could find. Like, it would look nice if he was wearing 1, but he's wearing 12.
Okay.
You know, it's Mr. T over the top amount of gold
Love
he
it.
has on him.
So he's like drunk Hugh Hefner.
And from his... No. I don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure
No.
how to respond either.
But from his waist down, he is a whirlpool.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
best way I can explain. It's just water is just kind of rushing beneath him, keeping him afloat or upright on the back of the dragon turtle. And you hear this guttural, like kind of like bubbles popping or water gurgling in a stream, just back and forth and back and forth. And then you hear in your mind, you hear... Bet you didn't know I had to clear my mind's voice.
You know, I definitely would not have thought about it, but now that I am thinking about it, that makes sense.
And are you saying this out loud, or are you thinking it?
No,
back to
I'm
me?
saying it.
You're saying that out loud.
Yeah.
And you look around, and everyone on the deck's kind of nodding
Wait,
a
so-
little bit. And the captain goes, "Great Merid, we are just trying to get to Dockhaven. We did not realize we had entered your territory on such a night as this."
For the time being, I'm actually going to stay put because this seems pretty interesting.
Yeah. Plan. The royal couple have not surfaced. They have not come up from the bottom of the deck.
Good.
And so the captain is bowing, and everyone's all of his crew bow. And he says, "We would like to pass peacefully. May we offer you tribute?" And his voice has no accent. It's stoic. Like, if I know stoic is a facial expression, but he is obviously trying his best to sound like he's no one and he's nothing. So he is trying to sound as plain as possible.
Quick question, because he can speak directly into my mind and my sword can speak directly into my mind. Could he hear my sword?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think, yeah, I would say the sword is because it's physical contact with you. If he grabbed your sword, you could all hear the sword talking to him in his mind. Because if he projected it, he could choose to project the sword's thoughts. Not automatically. Not like a screaming sound megaphone in your mind. And he says, "The men and women of the Triton people have offered me more spoils than you could ever to stop you." And he cocks his head, and the dragon turtle cocks his gigantic head.
That's pretty cool.
He's like, "What would you offer me
Road to Eldorado.
to assuage the purchase of my special set of skills?"
I turn to the captain.
And the captain says,
How did you know we were on this ship?
and you don't get a response to that. Well, the response is that the water that's gripping the boat flashes brighter blue and then goes back to its normal blue color, where it's like slightly glowing. And then he said, the captain, bowing, says, "This is a vessel of many voyages. I have much to offer you. Is there something particular to your interest?" And the dragon turtle tilts his head the other way. And the Merid, there's silence. And the captain, "I have not that aboard this vessel. Is there anything else?" And there's a long moment, like a minute passes. Just tense quiet, where all you can hear is the water moving around the ship and the creaking of the rigging and the flapping of the sails in the wind. And he says, "I believe we can come to an accord on that." And he puts his hat back on, and I need everyone to roll initiative.
Oh, telepathy.
That's what.
Oh, I forgot. Ring of the mind.
Can you just hear
Mind
other people's...
shielding?
Ring of the mind shielding. While
Yeah,
wearing
you can't
ring
hear.
immune to magic that allows others to read thoughts, determine lying, no alignment, or creature's type. So
He's just talking to you.
Oh, okay. All right.
So if you
If
had
he actively-
thought, he wouldn't have been able to read
Okay.
it.
So just
which he can't.
Just to know.
Well, you don't know that. So roll initiative.
20.
Okay.
15.
Oh, he gets advantage on this roll. That's even worse. Okay.
So the captain says we're at an accord.
Yep.
And I'm just wondering, I don't want to just attack because we rolled initiative.
Yeah. Same.
Is
Yeah.
there something that says, oh, it's fight time?
Don't worry, I've got you.
Okay, good.
Before anything happens, I throw up my arms and yell, "Parlay!"
Yeah, right.
Right. That's. Yep. Because the Merid and the dragon turtle follow the code of the brethren set down by Matthew and Bartholomew.
Yeah,
For sure.
of course,
definitely.
naturally. I would be surprised if the Merid
Parlay.
is Matthew.
It was invented by the French.
Merid, Matthew. If I say them real fast, murdered through. It just sounds. It's the same name.
Okay.
Created by the
So,
French. They invented mayonnaise.
He puts on his hat and stands up, and he looks up, and you watch as, well, if you're watching, I suppose, the Aerococra circles above the dragon turtle, and the raven comes and lands on his back. And as you watch, the raven's form falls away, and he turns into a kenku, holding a cannon bigger than him.
Oh.
And it just goes off, and just this explosion, and the crew leaps into motion, and the kenku rolls a natural 20 on his sneak attack with a cannon. All right.
Nice.
All right. Which is...
Sneak attack with a critical attack.
3d6. Doubled. Where's my... 25 damage to the turtle, to the dragon turtle. Okay. So that happens, and that is the signal for combat. Ifador, you are up first.
I would like to run up the to the head of the dragon turtle so that I'm standing on its head.
Yes. You're going to make an acrobatics check to
Yes.
climb the head of a dragon turtle.
18.
You succeed.
Okay. And then I will.
So I need to place everybody. So
Oh yeah, thank goodness. I'm like, I have no idea where anybody is.
so which one is you, Cameron? This one?
Yeah.
You are by the doors where you were backing down. You were here?
Yep.
Okay. The dragon turtle, for all intents and purposes.
It's too big to have a mini for,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
So here's his head.
So it's classified as a humongous creature.
Yeah.
It's a gargantuan,
Gargantuan, yeah.
if not colossal.
Let me see.
So almost Tarrasque size.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's a gargantuan dragon.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Dragon type.
So this is actually probably its.
Yeah, its
Size.
head is like... Is this big?
I think so. But this is fine.
Well, it's massive. It's
Yeah.
bigger than gargantuan.
Sounds good to me.
We just
And-
that's just for sake of knowing where it is, so we can.
Can you grab me the water elemental? I meant to grab it. To use as the...
There's a small one.
Is that one? This one?
There's, I think that one. To the
Anything
left.
that looks
Oh,
watery
to the right,
is good.
To the right.
Okay.
Behind. So go to the Joker, and then go right. So put your hand forward to the right.
And
to
your-
the right. No,
I'll
left.
just let you grab it.
The tiefling was awoken by the voice in his mind, and he has readied himself, drawing his swords as well.
I think he has if I remember his items were a rapier of wounding and a rapier +2.
Don't remember that, but cool. Good job.
I remember seeing his thing.
Is he coming?
He hasn't responded to any of my texts.
Hope he's okay.
Maybe he died in a car crash.
That would be really sad to have live streamed you saying that just now, if it was true. Good job, Trevor.
That's okay.
Yep.
We can edit that out.
And
Oh wait,
then,
we can. No, this is.
can I have your guys' ACs real quick?
20.
My AC with both of my swords drawn? Yeah, 22.
Okay.
And wait, hold on. Let me just. Okay, never mind. I was just.
Okay. All right, and we are going to. So you run on top of the head of the turtle.
Yep. So the Marid's right there.
Yep.
Let's see. How much of my movement have I used?
I would say.
Wait, is the Merid not on the deck? I thought he was on the deck.
You've used about 70 feet plus
Okay.
a bit of incline, 75 feet.
I'm gonna stand there facing the Merid and be like, I'm still trying to figure out what's going on here. What's going on?
So you're currently standing on the head of a recently cannon shot dragon turtle,
Right.
which I didn't take into account when you were climbing him.
Well, I came on afterwards.
I mean, he'd be
Thrashing.
like he's thrashing about, so he's moving a little bit. So, but because it's too late, I'm just going to have you make an acrobatics check at the beginning of your next turn.
Oh, okay.
To make sure you have stayed on.
Adam says he's 3 minutes out.
Okay, 3.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We
so,
do want to just take a break here, and we can pause combat till when he gets here.
well, we're live streaming, so
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
you can play an ad if you
I
want.
could play an ad.
Yeah.
I'll play an ad.
You're going to see an ad, everybody.
The let me start by giving you a little bit of the story of Petries and where it came from. I mean, ultimately, there was a time when a majority of game stores, I'm not saying all of them, but the majority of them had that sort of, dark dungeon-y feel to them. That's actually changed a lot in trends in the industry, which is great, but it was really hard to find a place to play anything that wasn't Warhammer or Magic. And again, no problems with that, but if you were a mystery gamer, or you were playing role-playing that wasn't D&D, or you were wanting something to do with all ages, it was very difficult to find a place outside of the home. So that was the motivation behind it all, was to have an all-ages venue that played multiple different types of games, so that everybody had an option of something to play. I'm Cameron of Petries Family Games, and we sponsor Praying for Superpowers. The fun thing about having an